Hello and welcome back to Laz Unleashed with myself, Laz Michaelides. So today I'm going to be reviewing the Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes movie that I've literally just come back from the cinema from seeing, and giving you my rating and my thoughts on it. So first off, I think I should say that I was very, very skeptical when I heard the announcement of this movie. Very skeptical about why it needed to be done and what the purpose of it was and what the purpose of this movie would fulfill to the overall saga of these new ones, because the third movie, War of the Planet of the Apes, that ended really perfectly, and it summed up Caesar's arc, if you like, um, quite perfectly, obviously with him dying at the end. So I was really skeptical and wondering what the necessity of it was. So just a little note, spoilers ahead for the movie if you haven't seen it, so don't watch if you don't want to know what happens. I was very pleasantly surprised, I'd say, very pleasantly surprised at the power and weight that I thought this movie carried following on from the first three movies. Um, in the first, I suppose overall, really, the storyline didn't interest me that much. I didn't think it was like sort of really gripping or really exciting or something new. It was very similar, like a monkey, an ape called Noah loses his family, or lose his clan because they're taken by the bigger and better apes, and he's on a journey to find them and to sort of get them down. But what I thought was interesting and what did keep the story interesting and kept me invested was the dynamic between the humans and the apes that was just so different to any of the previous movies, we'll call them the new Planet of the Apes movies, obviously, because you got the ones from, I can't remember what year the one with Mark Wahlberg was, but you got that one as well. And it was that relationship, just seeing apes for once in the commanding role, and more than commanding. It wasn't like the second and third movies of the movies where the apes were still finding their way, and it's probably they were level with humans in terms of the technology and the evolution and the advancement. But in this movie, it really felt like the apes were so strongly on top. Watching the humans Um, drink water at the lake with the zebras was like just a harrowing image. Just thinking, my God, like the humans have just completely, like, just completely fallen. But yeah, the storyline was good and interesting, and I thought when it got to the end, it really gave me the vibes of the Mark Wahlberg movie, where I really don't remember that movie, to be honest. So excuse me if I get something wrong, but there was, yeah, I feel like there were humans doing work for the apes trying to get something done, and this is what it felt like in this movie, because obviously they were trying to get into the vault where we didn't know that the humans had a cache of weapons and the tanks and everything. And I liked that the story kind of built up to something a bit more purposeful than just Noah going looking for his family. In terms of the characters, I did like them quite a lot. I thought Noah was really cool, but what I liked them is that they were simple characters, and their actions and character development was led by the story, as opposed to the writers trying to create an interesting character based on what happened 10 years ago or something that happened in May's past. We never got to see that because it didn't matter. The story that the writers wrote for any of the characters is what determined the character development, not trying to write a character, if that makes sense. So I enjoyed them, and I'd be happy to see more of them. What have I got here? Scary. Yeah, my God, I thought it was a really scary movie in places. The action shots and sequences from the early start of the movie, where the bad apes take down the Eagle Clan's village and just completely burn it, when the humans are sitting at the water hole and the apes come and sort of round them up and catch them. Terrifying, like really scary. It didn't help that the cinema we were in, the sound was absolutely, oh, just terribly loud, like really, really loud. And I like loud movies. I like it when you get a bit of a rumble in your belly from it, but this was just way too loud. But yeah, that aside, the action sequences were so thrilling, exhilarating, and it was actually scary sitting there watching these apes on these horses throw their little things and catch the humans. It was very terrifying, and I thought it was really, really well done. And what makes it well done is the visuals of it, and because the CGI is just so damn good. And it gets to the point, I spoke with things like Masters of the Air about the CGI and how we're still in a position with kind of TV shows like that where we're going, oh, do you know what, the CGI could be better. But with movies like this, I don't even pay any attention. It just feels so real. It feels so good and so well done that I never look at one of the apes and go, oh yeah, that CGI, don't know if that's working, or that strand of, or that thing in the eye, it didn't really work. I feel like they've just nailed the formula now that I'm not even paying it attention. I'm just taking it that these are apes. It's so good that I almost thought it was. I was wondering, hold on, have they gone Lord of the Rings here? Have they made some costumes, like ape costumes for them to wear instead of the CGI? Because some of it just looks so good. So that was a massive bonus, and because of that, because the visuals are so good and striking and realistic, if you like, it made the story and the action sequences seem real, and that's why they were exhilarating and exciting. Sort of complementing the visuals, the dystopian setting was great, and I didn't even know where we were in the movie. I don't think at one point they said that they're in this part of the world. I know towards the end, when they finally got the radio working, they they got a call back from the Indiana branch. So I'm not sure. Maybe it was in America, but yeah, the whole setting with the rusted shopping centres with what do you call it? Yeah, the oh god, I can't remember what they're called. The my mind's gone blank. The electric stairs, the stairs that go up. I completely lost what it's called. But yeah, those were just rusted. And then all those ships in the ocean, the satellites that were just completely falling apart. I just thought it looked really, really good. And there was a big difference between this one and the second of the new movies, because that was also a little bit dystopian with some worn out. Um, uh, the dam that was powered by the electricity, that looked worn out, but it didn't look completely gone like it did in this movie. So I thought that was really well done. Now, sort of delving a bit deeper, the immortalisation of Caesar in this movie I thought was really fascinating and really well done, because you're kind of thinking, well, it could be so easy for them to just do Caesar's son for this movie and just have it kind of continue on there. But no, the first line that comes up after we see Caesar's death and his funeral is many generations later. So this is, many generations, could be hundreds of years. And what's great is that Caesar has essentially become this Jesus-like figure that everyone speaks of. We follow Caesar's words, and we follow, the order of Caesar, I think, is what the orangutan rancor. He was the last member of the order of Caesar. And it's important to their legend, and it makes it important to the lore of this movie, because everyone, for good or for better or for worse, is doing things because of Caesar. Caesar is a pioneer, an innovator, if you like, in terms of bringing the monkeys and the apes and giving them this kingdom. And because of that, we have people following him like he's Jesus, like he's the Lisan al Gaib. But you got some of them doing it for completely wrong reasons, to try and take, trying to overrun the humans rather than try and work with them. Noah was being taught about Caesar, wasn't he, by Rancor, the orangutan. And he was just trying to pursue this idea that humans and apes can coexist. So it was just really interesting, and it was relevant even up until the end, because at the end, when Noah and May realised that they actually weren't going to be able to work together, that's the moment where I think it was Noah said, well, Caesar wanted humans and apes to work together, but it's not going to be able to happen. So I think this will be a continuous thing, and I'll get to whether there's more movies or not in a bit, but I loved that. But I'll get on to my next point, because it kind of links up with this. This movie, if you were to watch the 4 movies in a row, this one feels like a little out of place because it is set so far after the first 3. But that link and that simple tie with Caesar being the overarching, I don't want to say deity because he's not a god, but the overarching, let's call him a messiah figure who all the apes worship, like I said, for better or for worse, following his good teachings or taking his bad teachings and doing good out of them, or taking his good teachings and doing bad out of them, because they were linked. That really tied this together. So although it still felt a little out of place and felt like another trilogy of movies, like, right, this is the start of a new section, no, I thought it linked really well and was kept because of that bond with Caesar. I liked the cult, the new Caesar, so to speak. I can't remember what the king was called, but I think he said, I am Caesar now. It was almost a bit like, that they mentioned it as well when I think what's the actor called? Is it William H. Macy? When his character was telling May that he was teaching the apes about the Roman emperors. I thought that was really interesting, because this seemed like a line of Roman emperors and their successors using, their the citizens to kind of do work for them and get this thing open so they could access the cash. and just having one emperor dictating what's going on. And I kind of felt like that. Caesar, for his namesake as well, Caesar the ape was at the top, and then there's been many generations since, and we now land at this king, this emperor, who is going to do things his way and utilize the apes and the humans in the way he wants it. So yeah, that's sort of my specifics about the movie in terms of what I liked and what I didn't. I think overall, I'd say I enjoyed it, and the reason I enjoyed it is because it felt like another one of these three. It felt like the next part of these three movies, which it is, but they've been really consistent with it. They've kept the same feel, the same vibe about these movies going through all four of them, and that's what I like. It always delivers. It was unique and different but all of the movies are unique and different in their own way, and this one even more so, like I said, because it's set so farther back. But it's still delivered, and I think it still falls into that. I don't want to call this another because I've seen people call it the new set of Planet of the Apes, because we've got no Serkis. Andy Serkis was the one of the pivotal roles in all three of those first movies, and we don't have him at all anymore. So that's why I think people are kind of looking at this in a new light. But no, we need to keep it together because they are consistent, and even down to the soundtrack has the similar themes running through it. This just a general similar sounding movie as well. But yeah, really consistent movies. And talking about that in terms of where we'd go next from here, there definitely felt like there's going to be another maybe a movie 5 coming for sure, and I don't know if they've confirmed that or not. But I'd welcome it, and I'd take 2 more movies if I'm honest. I'd take a 6-movie saga, because there's a lot they can do with it. Maybe which is the way the ending of this movie kind of went. I feel like you could do a full circle and end up coming round with the humans taking over again. They've just established some. She got the thing from the cache that she needed, this technological whatever it was, and she put it in the humans machine, and the satellite moved, and they were able to make contact. So maybe this is the beginning. Maybe the next movie is going to be a few generations later, and humans, the use of their technology, they found it again. It's back on the rise, and humans are now at a much equal level, but with a lot of the old technology. They can't still be creating new things. So you've got that option, or you've got the option to just complete the other way, which is having a mass war between the apes and the humans. And the only problem here is that they've already done War for the Planet of the Apes. So I'm just trying to think what they could call it. But where you have the humans trying to rise up, but the apes just completely wiping them off the face of the earth, which I think would be really interesting and a very dark way to go. But yeah, I'd take 2 more movies because I really enjoyed them. And I think they've got a nice little thing going here. Although I said the storyline wasn't that interesting, it still felt like it was part of this saga. And it feels like, if they get the next movie as good as this one, then it's just going to be continually stepping and just making a really good saga. The ending of the movie is in the last, I don't know what you call it, the third act, the final half hour, felt a little anticlimactic. And the reason that is because the start of the movie, they gave you Noah's, a little bit about Noah's not backstory, a little bit about Noah and his clan, and just that they got to get an egg because they're gonna, they're gonna raise a bird for themselves. But then once they have their egg, they got to look after it, but they got to go and complete a trial. And all this was done in the first 10-15 minutes. We got a nice little bit of information about what they're going to do and what it's going to be about. But then after that, when the raid happened on their village, from that moment onwards, the story felt so much bigger than just Noah. It felt about the apes in general, apes versus humans. Although it was apes versus apes within, it was about the rise of the apes and the even further pushing them forward comparing to the decline of the human. It just felt really important, the story that was unfolding. But then when it came back to the end, it felt like Noah's story again, which was a little anticlimactic, I thought, because it wasn't about all of the apes who were working on that site. It was just about Noah's clan. So I feel like if there'd have been an uprising and you had a civil war in that camp of all the good apes versus all of the king's bad apes, then I think that would have enhanced the story how I was viewing it, in terms of much bigger than just one clan. But the way they went with it, the way they chose to go, focused on Noah and his clan, and it is what it is. Like I said, it wasn't bad. It just felt a little anticlimactic, a little weak, I think. And because of that, as I said, it felt like it got a bit muddled as to whose story it was. Was it the ape's story or was it Noah's story? Um, but if they take Noah in the direction of being the new Caesar, of taking some sort of leadership role within this second bunch of movies, then I might be okay with it, because that would justify the ending of this movie. But there's just so many ways they could go with it. For the next movie, they might not even talk about May or Noah at all. They might go on to a different ape, a different human. It might be human based, this one, the next one. So we'll see. But the very, very end of it I liked, because it, like I said, it did open up plenty of avenues for more of these movies, and such a wide array of options of where they can go with it, as I've just said. Lots of options available, lots of storylines they can create, lots of characters they can create or bring back and use again. So overall, I enjoyed it. I was in the cinema. It was very thrilling. It was enjoyable. It was exhilarating, emotional at points. But I'd say it was a good movie. So in terms of my rankings, that would be a 6 out of 10. Yeah, I don't think I need to say much more else. Just enjoyed it a lot, and I'd be happier. I'd be happy if they kept going with this same vein. So that is my review of the Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, which came out 2 days ago. Hope you enjoyed it. Please like and subscribe to stay up to date with my content, and I'll see you again very, very soon.